how can I assist you? Okay? Now, when you're answering, how can I assist you this trimester? I need you to be honest. I define advisory as the approach of an educator being like the Sherpa of each individual student that's in your advisory. You are the all-encompassing like guru. I need to know exactly what it is that I need to do to assist you this trimester. Think about how you were last trimester, okay? But be honest with yourself.
Advisory plays a lot of different roles. Everything from emotional support to social support. We build a lot of culture, we do academic support. Depending on what the scholar needs at whatever time, that's what advisory is there for.
Well, it's really helped us to get to know each other and to help us with our social skills, because a lot that came in, we weren't really sure what to do.
I didn't think I'd feel comfortable with meeting new people because I've always been a little bit shy, getting used to the people around you.
It's not like any other class. It's not like teaching or anything like that. It's like a class where you can either catch up on work, you get to know each other. It's kind of more of like a safe place.
We know each other and we know that we trust each other. I know I can trust Nicole with anything that's going on in my life. And if I'm having a bad day, I can talk to her about it. And just going to any math class, they don't really understand, so we have that connection. It didn't take very long to feel comfortable in here, so I think an advisor is a very welcoming place to get stuff done and then even socialized.
I think it's really important because what it does is it gives us as teachers a really good idea of where the students are at. It also gives us a really good chance to focus on them and what their needs are without having to worry about what to teach them or did they do their homework. And we can specifically focus on what do they need? How do we support their needs? And so that gives us that time. It also supports us because we can start building culture. If there was an issue that was happening on campus, then that's the specific time to address it. And it gives them a sense of a safe space, and it allows them to have a home base at school. They always know they have an adult that they can trust and go to, and they know that we have their backs. If you walk into my advisory, you'd see a very different structure than if you walked into another teacher's advisory. And that's partly because we do things very differently as we teach, but it also molds itself to who your scholars are and who you are as a person.
All right, so one of the conversation pieces that
I like to start off my advisory with the circle. We talk about how you're doing. And so even a quick 1 to 5, how are you feeling right now? We talk about our day, we ask them a specific question.
So what I want you to think about is, in your head, I want you to think about the best compliment someone's paid you, okay? I'm gonna have you share first with a partner, and then you're gonna share a whole group, okay? So turn to the person sitting next to you.
I do coffee time with my advisory where I pair them up and they have to sit with each other and I give them a topic to talk about. So anything from favorite books and movies to what'd you do over winter break? And so it gives them a chance to wind down and de-stress a little bit and to get to know themselves.
I went outside right now, during our passing period, and one of the aides was like, do you work out? I was like, yeah. She was like, yo, I could see it in your legs. And it was just such a compliment because you guys know I work hard for these legs and I work out so much. So she noticed it and I was like, you know?
So there was this freshman and he complimented my shoes.
Bro. All I got was a nice shirt compliment.
My kids said I cooked good.
Any day in advisory is a very different day. Sometimes we help them academically and we help structure them. Hey, you have homework for this class that's due on Friday. Make sure you do that. Sometimes it's, hey, there was vandalism at our school. We need to talk about that. What does that mean to take care of our school and take care of our property? Hey, we're hearing not positive words that are being said on campus. Let's talk about a conversation about how words affect us.
I want you to think about our school as a whole. Do we think that we say positive things to each other, or do you think we say negative things to each other? When you walk around campus, think about that.
Sometimes I see them walking in and they have all this nervous energy. I'm like, all right, we're doing PE today, so let's go outside and do some PE. Sometimes they walk in and they come back and they're stressed from a test, and I'm like, all right, let's get in a circle. We're gonna play like Heads Up 7-Up. And so it depends on what they need. That makes it really hard to tell you how to structure it, because it changes based on what your scholars need. And that's hard because we like structure as teachers, but understanding that this gives you a space to address some of the issues that need to be addressed, I think that's extremely helpful.
Some of the activities that we did together as an advisory were low-high, which is just a quick whip around of your low light and your highlight for the week. So it's just a way for all of us to check in and know where we're all at. Advice circle was one of my favorites, where everyone would write on a scrap of paper a question. It could have been related to family or friends or school that they wanted some advice on, and we'd throw that into the center and pull it out. And it was totally anonymous, and people would just read it out, and then everyone would just give advice to whoever that person was, which was really great. And sometimes this kid would out themselves and say, okay, that was me, and I have a follow-up question. And then they would, ask more. And some of them were really personal questions, but I thought that the students did a really great job of keeping it mature and really trying to give honest and thoughtful advice about how they thought they should handle that relationship or that problem or that issue.
Your project. If you're not working on your project, you're doing the other 3 things. I need to see your project proposals. I need to see what your progress is on your projects. Mine is a little bit more chaotic, but there's a lot of structure into it. I like to do a lot of projects with my scholars, so arts are a huge thing. I'm a math teacher, so I have to allow the scholars to take risks and fail and to be comfortable with it. So in the beginning, I will ask them a lot of questions. It's the holistic thing. Every single scholar is a human being, and I let them know that. But before that, I'm letting them know, like, this is who I am, and look at me take these risks and fail miserably, and I'm okay with it. And I'm still going to be here tomorrow. I am that anchor for them. So the chaos is in the sense of, like, if it's not student-led and they're not the ones that are actually participating and doing the work, they're not going to be enthused about it. So they are going to grudgingly move forward. So if I let them have these entry points of they're doing what they want and they're passionate about, then they'll do the work. But that also means that it could be where there's 6 different things happening at once. I'm monitoring. They're pretty honest about it.
So when we were on our internships, I had to take charge of my own learning outside of school, and I had missed a few days. So right now I'm trying to catch up on that. So I'm doing a card that says what I worked on these days.
See, that's much, much better.
I know, but I was mad, okay?
I understand. That's why
So I can send that?
Yes, you can send anything you like. Remember, it's the choices, the consequences that you have to deal with afterwards.
He wasn't as mad, so that was fine.
I know.
We form a bond and everything, so it's better than it was because I get emotional support, and if I need academic support too, they'll be there.
Our scholars are going through a really tough time. They have a lot of issues that they have at home personally, and all of that affects our students. And to assume that our students come in as just, I need to learn, is ridiculous. They're coming in with all their baggage and all their issues, their good days and their bad days, with them into their classroom. And when we teach them, we have to teach them through all of that and to give them a place to support that process, and to not just look at a student's academic needs, but also to look at their whole person needs is a really important thing. And to incorporate that into a regular school day, to incorporate that into a regular classroom while you're trying to teach them trigonometry, or let's study The Great Gatsby, or whatever textbook you need to study, I think that's a really huge burden on a teacher. But to give them that extra place where it allows them to have this time to slow down and to really look at the child and to really support them, I think that's the purpose of advisory.
I think that advisory has to happen at every single school, because it's where you are able to show your humanity a bit more as an educator. This is where you are able to connect with the scholar and build that relationship. Now, the reason why restorative practices are used within advisory most of the time is because Scholars are going to make the mistakes and they're going to lose their temper. They are going to not filter certain things out. What do you do afterwards? Advisory is a space where you're, okay, let's think about it. Let's look at what happened. There might not be resolution there, but now you're giving the scholar a opportunity to experience what it is to not get thrown under the bus because you've made a mistake. Because if anybody threw me under the bus when I made mistakes, I would not be here. So it's like you're offering this grace to the student to be able to make as many mistakes as they can possibly can, so that you can then later on show them what to do. Okay, when you're ready, we'll pick up the pieces, but let me just let you know that hurt me. And within advisory, you can say that, and it's totally normal because you've built that into your culture. So we need a lot more.
I'm telling you, I'm getting there. I did it more.
I appreciate the fact, but remember, we have to.
Part of my role as an advisor is to support their academic needs, and sometimes we're the direct liaison to their families. And so I know a lot of my parents, or a lot of my students' parents by name, and we talk regularly on the phone, we do meetings, and so I'm their direct contact to even other teachers in the school. And so if they're having struggles in their other classes, then I'm the person that their parents go to, or I'm the one that talks to them about, hey, I heard you're not doing well in this class. How do we support you? How do we help you? And so I think that's one of the biggest roles that we as advisors play, is that we are able to be their liaison for whatever some of the issues are on campus for them.
It's also a great point in being able to touch base with a student and knowing about what's happening in another class, because then I can now, if it's appropriate and if it's okay with the student, go talk to that specific teacher. You know, this came up, can we talk more about it? So I think it's a great place to be able to stay connected to different grade levels of the school.
I take it as the approach of like, okay, I'm showing you who I am and I'm gathering all this information from you. But at the same time, I'm showing you that I'm consistent and sincere. This is who I am. This is not a persona that I put on. This is who I am for you. Because scholars, students, young human beings, they're very perceptive whether you believe it or not. They see everything. It's you being sincere in the beginning, gathering all this information so that you can use that information to help them develop. Now, in the beginning, it's quite a bit of hand-holding, and the structure piece has to be there because they don't know yet. It's not about tearing down walls with them. It's more of, can I build access points so that I can climb over that wall every so often? When do you let me? Let me be that person that you can rely on. And it's not necessarily has to be, some students don't want that deep personal, they're happy being themselves. And that's who you're helping them be every single day. Be yourself and I accept you. And then they reciprocate that. That stays consistent throughout the entire time. Now later on we have things to do. Okay, so right now we'll do an art project. But tomorrow means that we're working on our resumes, or we're making those calls, or we're going to make sure that, you know what, your evaluation for your math or your science didn't go so well, let's revise it. Let me help you with that. You're incorporating more of what they need as a scholar as well as a human being.
One of the things that, even if you don't have an advisory, that you can do is that you can do the one-on-ones that we do. They don't take a long time unless you do them consecutively, but throughout a school day, during a 60-minute, 90-minute period, you can call a student up and be like, hey, how's it going? And do a really quick conversation on the side. How are we doing? How can I support you academically? What do you need from me? And sometimes it's those small little conversations that you hear a lot of. The way I like to prepare for that is that I already have a massive list of questions. And so sometimes students don't like to volunteer information about themselves. They don't like to say that, oh, my mom's in the hospital. They don't like to say that, but I will say something as simple as, who's in your family? And that way I have a really quick glance of who they are at home. And I think spending that 5 minutes per student, and you can get through all your students in maybe about a month and take some time, but really getting to know who they are and who they are when they come into your classroom.
I had, I think, 3 tests one day. Like, how do you study for all that?
Something else that's really easy to incorporate are circles. A circle can be as long as you would like it to be, but it can be quick, like 5 minutes. Let's all get together in a circle and share a word that you're feeling today and something good that happened to you over winter break. And that gives them a chance to gauge each other and to know how each other's feeling, but even as like you as a teacher, you can gauge how they're doing.
I think that's really important for you to think about how compliments make you feel, right? I want you to think about that, because if you see somebody that you don't like, is it easier for you to say something mean to them? Or when you see somebody that you do like, is it easier for you to say something nice to them?
It's easier.
My suggestion for a teacher that doesn't have advisory is start with something so simple as a check-in. Have a little 2-3 question survey. That's how I started. And that helps you identify who needs what. At first, they're very generic questions like, what made you happy this week? Is there anything I can help you with? How can I be better for you? At the beginning, if you're consistent, at the first, they're like, nothing. Nah, I'm good. I'm all right. Just very like short answers. But then you'll get a couple that'll give you a full description, like this is what you can do. Then you start slowly picking them apart. Like it sounds really bad, but you start picking them apart. You then exploit that and you say, okay, you took it serious. I'm going to devote some attention to you. It might take me 5 minutes. I check in or I bring it up in passing in the hallways or whatever. Hey, you put down this. Awesome. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And then you start extending that. And then other scholars start seeing, wait, that person took it serious. I think I'm missing out. Or they start talking amongst themselves, because we all know they're chismosos. They all talk. So they're going to talk to each other like, oh, well, Wences actually asked me this question and he followed up with, that's weird. Like he actually read those things. And then it starts snowballing. And then other teachers will see the differences in these scholars.
I think for schools that don't have them yet, but maybe have homerooms, there are ways to transition those homerooms into a mini advisory where you're doing activities or exercises that are connecting students that they could be life skills, they could be study skills, but something that's just bringing the students together to feel more connected to the school, to the work, to their purpose. There are other ways that schools could try it if they just wanted to try it on a grade level basis, like maybe start with one grade level who's piloting it and just see how it goes and carving out some time, whether that's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour-long advisory once a week to see what they find, to see if it develops relationships. There's so many different ways that students could start it, but they would need that permission or that freedom from the school leader to start to shape this path. The more the school leader can design space for the teachers to actually have time to plan or prep for advisory, I think the more successful it is, and the more teachers can hold each other accountable for having a productive advisory. Because you have definitely situations in schools where some advisories are really strong and students love going, and then you have some advisors who maybe because of time or whatever aren't as invested, and so advisory can turn into just a glorified study hall. And so I think really as educators, holding each other accountable for the quality of advisory we want to see happen in our schools is really important.
Getting over my fear. As the teacher, you don't realize how much you grow as an educator. I learned more about teaching by taking these risks in advisory and in my classes than I did from credential programs. The fear was, oh, they're not going to respect me. But then afterwards, I started seeing, oh, they're connecting to me a little bit more because there's that barrier that was there or that obstacle for them. Now they see me as, okay, you're a person, you're a goofball, and you're really weird at times, and you're tasting music I don't really particularly care for, but you're there, and it's me getting over that fear first and then trying different things out. Any questions? No, Wences, you're so wonderful. Thank you, Alexis. I really appreciate that. Okay. The problem is like in content, if they don't get something, oh man, I need to figure out different ways to make sure that they get it. Because at the end, there is that terrible word of assessment. In advisory, I'm gonna try things out, and if it doesn't work out, and I try it again, it still doesn't work out, I can move on to something else. And now you're building up as an educator, you're building up your arsenal so that now it's what seems like it's second nature to you. It's because you've taken those risks and you're not fearing things so much.
I do find it useful. I feel like it helps you make connections with people. Like it really brings like people together, and it's like a place where you can feel comfortable and where you can get work done.
It's a really great thing to do because you're allowing students to lead, being them. Where's the classroom management piece in that? Where is the behavioral issues? There's none, because they're the ones that are invested into this.